They called her a live punching bag. The Zumba girl who wandered into the men's ring. They laughed at her 50 kilos, certain she wouldn't last 10 seconds against the 80-kilo champion Jason Crow. No one saw it coming. But in just 12 seconds, her liver-spinning kick folded the Texas beast like a broken sandbag. And the entire gym froze when they realized the woman they mocked was a kickboxing legend. Wolf. Den kickboxing gym was a Texas crucible, its cinder block walls scarred with sweat and ambition, its concrete floor gritty with the dust of crushed dreams. The air was thick with the tang of liniment and testosterone, the fluorescent lights buzzing like a swarm of angry wasps, casting harsh shadows over heavy bags and frayed mats. Once a month, the gym hosted its open sparring event, a brutal masquerade billed as a welcome for newcomers but designed to feed the egos of seasoned fighters. SWAT officers, ex-military grunts, and amateur kickboxers who came to dominate, not to teach. The ring at the center was a gladiator's pit, its ropes sagging under the weight of past victories, its canvas stained with the arrogance of men who saw weakness as sport. The crowd was a pack of wolves, tattooed gym rats flexing in tank tops, cops with buzz cuts, barking bets, and fighters shadowboxing to warm up their knuckles, their eyes scanning for prey. Into this den walked Lena Hartley. 29, 52 kilos, 5.2, a phantom, in a plain gray t-shirt, faded black leggings, and worn-out boxing gloves, their leather cracked like her past. Her hair was tied low, a tight bun under a frayed cap. Her hazel eyes shadowed, her hands wrapped in old stained tape. She sat quietly in the corner, her presence a whisper against the gym's roar. A woman who'd once ruled as a military kickboxing champion only to vanish after a scandal forced her into the shadows. As Lena signed in a gym bookkeeper, her glasses perched low, scoffed from behind the counter, her voice loud enough for the fighters to hear. "You here on a scholarship, kid? Those leggings look like they're from a thrift bin," she said. Her laugh sharp, implying Lena's poverty disqualified her from the gym's elite ranks. The crowd chuckled, their eyes raking over Lena's faded t-shirt, their phones capturing her plain gear. "Bet she can't even cover the locker fee," the bookkeeper added, pointing at Lena's cracked gloves, her words a public smear. Lena's hazel eyes stayed on the sign-in sheet, her fingers tightening around the pen, a subtle clench that hinted at her resolve to prove them wrong, her silence a shield. The fighters nearby nodded their knuckles, cracking the crowd's laughter, a chorus amplifying her isolation. The audience's rage surged the bookkeeper's financial jab, a wound her cruelty, a call for Lena's power to silence the gym's gatekeepers. The gauntlet began the moment she stepped through the door, her sneakers silent on the gritty floor, her gray t-shirt loose against her small frame. Skylar, the female gym coach, her ponytail swinging, her arms crossed over a branded tank top, spotted Lena signing in and laughed, her voice sharp enough to cut through the gym's din. "What's this, a yoga retreat dropout?" she said, her words a blade drawing chuckles from the fighters nearby, their heavy bags pausing mid-swing. "You here to stretch or get stretched, sweetheart?" The crowd's laughter was a wave crashing over Lena, her faded leggings a target, her cracked gloves a punchline. Lena's hazel eyes didn't lift her hands, wrapping tape with deliberate precision, her silence a wall against their scorn. Skylar leaned closer, her smirk wide, her voice dripping with mockery. "Don't worry. We'll find you a nice corner to cry in after the men show you how it's done." The fighters roared their knuckles, cracking their eyes, dissecting Lena's petite frame, their amusement a public verdict on her worth. The audience's rage surged Skylar's sexism, a wound her cruelty, a fire that demanded justice. The gym was a furnace, the Texas heat pressing against the cinder block walls, the heavy bags swaying under the blows of men who fought for clout. Lena found a corner near the water cooler, her shadow boxing a quiet rhythm, sharp jabs, fluid sidesteps, her cracked gloves cutting the air with surgical precision. A SWAT officer, his badge clipped to his gym bag, spotted her and laughed, his voice booming to the crowd. "Yo, someone tell the Pilates princess the ring's for fighters, not dancers," he said, pointing at her faded leggings, his chuckle a dagger. The crowd snickered, their eyes following his gesture, their phones raised to capture the moment. "Bet she's here to film a workout reel, how to lose in 10 seconds. He added, his laughter spreading like wildfire. Lena's footwork didn't falter, her hazel eyes hidden under her cap, her silence a shield against their venom. Another fighter, his raps fresh, chimed in, "Look at her. She's gonna break her own wrist before anyone touches her." The crowd's amusement was a chorus, their eyes on her small frame, her plain t-shirt a symbol of failure. The audience's fury burned the officer's mockery, a wound his arrogance, a call for Lena's skill to silence him. Near the heavy bags, an ex-Marine fighter, his dog tags glinting, spotted Lena shadowboxing and laughed, his voice booming to the crowd. "What's this, a rookie playing pretend?" he said, his tone venomous, pointing at her fluid sidesteps. "You've never seen a real fight, have you, doll? Stick to cardio. This ring's for warriors." His words implied Lena's quiet demeanor was inexperience, her presence a mockery of the gym's hardened ranks. The crowd snickered. Their phones raised their cheers, spiking with wannabe. Lena's scarred hands adjusted her cap, a deliberate tilt that hinted at her suppressed fire, her silence a fortress. The trainers nodded the crowd's laughter, a dagger her perceived inexperience, a target. The audience's fury burned the Marine's scorn, a wound his arrogance, a call for Lena's skill to prove her past. The taunts grew sharper as Lena moved toward the ring, her t-shirt shifting to reveal a faint scar on her forearm, a pale line from a battle long forgotten. A gym rat, his biceps bulging, his tank top soaked, blocked her path, his voice loud enough for the trainers to hear. "You serious, kid? This ain't a women's self-defense class," he said, his laugh a blade implying her presence was a joke. "Go knit a scarf or something. Leave the kicks to the big boys." The crowd chuckled, their phones up, their cheers spiking with #GemFail. A female fighter, her gear branded, joined in, her voice dripping with pity. "Poor thing, she thinks she's Ronda Rousey. Someone get her a juice box before she faints." The laughter crashed over Lena, her cracked gloves a spectacle, her silence a fortress. Her hazel eyes stayed forward, her cap low, but the public shaming was a dagger, her gender mocked, fueling the audience's rage at the gym's relentless cruelty. As Lena approached the ring, a ring announcer, his microphone crackling, turned to the crowd, his voice echoing through the gym. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a special guest, a featherweight who thinks she's a contender," he said, his laugh sharp, implying Lena's ambition was laughable. "Give it up for the girl who's about to learn why this is a man's game." The crowd roared, their phones capturing Lena's small frame, their cheers spiking with "had outclassed." Lena's fingers tightened her frayed wraps, a slow, deliberate motion that hinted at her focus, amidst the humiliation, her silence a shield. The fighters jeered, the trainers smirked, the crowd's laughter a chorus, her aspiration mocked. The audience's rage piqued the announcer's public shaming, a wound his bravado, a call for Lena's talent to silence the gym's spotlight. The humiliation peaked when Jason Crow, the city's reigning kickboxing champion, the Texas Beast, swaggered through the crowd, 80 kilos, 6'3", his frame a slab of muscle, his gloves gleaming with fresh leather, his presence a storm. He spotted Lena wrapping her hands near the ring, his grin wide, his voice booming over the gym's chaos, drawing every eye. "Sweetheart, did you get lost on the way to the Zumba class?" he said, his laughter a thunderclap, his tank top tight against his chest. Skylar, circling the ring, laughed loud, her ponytail bouncing. "Look at that, Jason." She brought a punching bag onto the ring herself. The crowd roared, their phones raised, their cheers spiking with #Texas Beast. Jason leaned closer, mockingly offering, "Come on up, girl. I'll go easy. Maybe I'll film a TikTok. One kick to send her back to yoga school." The fighters cheered. The trainer smirked, no one expecting her to last 10 seconds. Lena looked up, her hazel eyes cold, dead calm, meeting Jason's gaze through the brim of her cap, her scarred hands flexing. She stepped toward the ring, her sneakers silent, her silence a promise, her cracked gloves a warning, the audience's fury burning at the gym's predatory arrogance. The cruelty didn't stop. A grizzled trainer, his whistle dangling, leaned toward a fighter, his voice loud enough for the crowd to hear. "She's got no place here. Look at that frame. She's a breeze away from snapping," he said, pointing at Lena's petite body, his laugh sharp. The crowd chuckled, their phones capturing her small frame as she climbed the ropes, her t-shirt loose, her cap shadowing her eyes. $10 says she's out in 5 seconds. A cop shouted, his buzz cut, gleaming his bet a public smear. Skylar, by the ropes, shouted, "Lena, you've got 10 seconds to survive. Then Jason will teach you why women don't belong in men's rings." The crowd erupted, their cheers, a wave, their eyes dissecting her faded leggings, her lack of branded gear. Lena's hazel eyes stayed on the ring, her footwork a quiet dance, her silence a rebuke to their judgment. But the public taunting was a wound her presence mocked, enraging the audience at the gym's vicious pile-on. As Lena climbed the ropes, a female rookie, her gear new and shiny, leaned toward a trainer, her voice loud enough for the crowd to hear. "She's embarrassing us." "Women look at her thinking she can hang with Jason," she said, her tone dripping with disdain, implying Lena's presence tarnished their credibility. "She's going to get crushed and prove we don't belong here." The crowd chuckled. Their phones raised their cheers, spiking with #weaklink. Lena's hazel eyes flickered briefly, her hand brushing her forearm scar, a subtle gesture that hinted at her quiet resolve to redefine strength, her silence a fortress. The fighters nodded the crowd's laughter, a wound her solidarity mocked. The audience's fury surged, the rookie's betrayal, a wound her scorn, a call for Lena's skill to rewrite the narrative. Before the bell, an equipment handler, his apron stained, tossed Lena a towel with a smirk, his voice loud enough for the crowd to hear. "Cover that scar, kid, looks like you lost a fight with a paper cut," he said, pointing at her forearm scar, his laugh sharp, implying her past battles were trivial. The crowd snickered, their phones capturing her faded t-shirt, their cheers spiking with #ScarGirl. Lena's fingers adjusted her cap, a slow tilt that hinted at her suppressed fire, her silence a shield against the mockery. The trainers chuckled, the crowd's laughter a chorus, her history ridiculed. The audience's rage piqued the handler's scar taunt, a wound his cruelty, a call for Lena's legacy to shatter their ignorance. The bell rang, a harsh clang that silenced the crowd for a heartbeat. The ring a pit, where egos were forged or broken, its ropes creaking under the gym's fluorescent glare. Jason strutted forward. No headgear, his arms loose, his posture mocking his grin. Wide, his muscles rippling, his tank top soaked with sweat. Lena sidestepped, her footwork a whisper, her small frame a ghost against his bulk, her cracked gloves steady, her hazel eyes locked on his movements. Seconds ticked by. 1, 2, 3. Jason teasing with light kicks playing to the crowd, his laughter booming. The crowd jeered, their phones raised their cheers, spiking with #beast mode. "Come on, princess, throw something." Jason taunted, his voice a challenge, his guard loose, his side exposed. Lena's hazel eyes flickered, her silence a strategy, her scarred hands relaxed, her cap shadowing her intent. The trainers smirked, the fighters shouted, "Finish her," their amusement a roar, their phones capturing every moment. Lena's footwork was a dance, her petite frame weaving through his kicks, her silence a blade waiting to strike, the audience's anticipation surging, their fury at the gym's cruelty, a fire, Lena's restraint a spark ready to ignite. As the bell rang, Lena's footwork was a masterclass, her petite frame weaving through Jason's teasing kicks with surgical precision, her cracked gloves steady, her hazel eyes locked on his rhythm. Each sidestep was deliberate, her body low, her faded t-shirt swaying, her silence a strategy that turned his bravado into wasted energy. The crowd's jeers faltered, a trainer whispering, "She's reading him like a book," his voice drowned by the cheers but marking a shift. Lena's anticipation was lethal, her scar glowing under the fluorescence, her cap shadowing her intent, her talent a fire that burned through their doubts. The fighters leaned closer, their phones forgotten, the gym's roar, softening her skill a revelation. The audience felt a surge of triumph, Lena's defensive precision, a testament to her championship, past a blade that cut through the gym's arrogance at the fight's very start. At second 4, Jason swung a wide, lazy roundhouse, the kick brushing millimeters from Lena's face, his laughter echoing his confidence, a wall he thought unbreakable. Lena dodged, her body low, her torque clean, her hazel eyes narrowing her silence, a storm gathering strength. The crowd roared their cheers, flooding end at Jason, seconds 5 through 8. Jason pressed forward, his kicks sloppier, his grin wider, his side exposed, his taunts louder. "You're wasting my time, yoga girl," he shouted, his breath hot, his tank top clinging to his frame. Lena's footwork tightened, her cracked gloves steady, her cap tilting, her silence a gavel poised to strike. The trainers leaned closer, the fighters' cheers faltering, a ripple of doubt breaking their confidence. Skylar by the ropes laughed, her voice sharp. "This is over, say goodbye, Lena." The crowd's amusement was a tidal wave, their phones zoomed in on Lena's small frame, their cheers spiking. The audience's rage piqued Jason's arrogance, a wound, Skylar's taunt a call for Lena's skill to shatter their illusions. At second 9, Jason stomped forward, his massive frame a monument to his hubris, his grin mocking, his guard completely down his side, wide open. "Time to go home, princess," he said, his voice a challenge, his laughter echoing across the gym, the crowd's roar deafening. Lena spun low, her body a coiled spring, her weight centered, her hazel eyes locked on his liver. Her spinning hook kick was textbook fluid, precise, unstoppable landing flush against his core, the impact a thunderclap that drilled past his muscle, sinking deep with surgical force. Jason froze, his face draining of color, his breath catching his 80-kilo frame, locking in agony, his gloves useless, his eyes rolled back. His body convulsing like a machine, unplugged his knees, buckling his massive frame, crumpling to the mat, a giant felled by a 52-kilo phantom. The gym fell silent, a vacuum of shock. The phones frozen, the crowd's laughter choking in their throats, the fluorescent lights buzzing louder in the stillness. The bell hadn't rung again, the round unfinished, but the fight was over. Lena's kick a verdict, her silence a gavel, her hazel eyes unmoved under her cap, her forearm scar glowing in the harsh light. The audience's triumph roared, Lena's liver kick a thunderbolt, her skill a blade cutting through the gym's arrogance, a moment that shattered their fantasies. The silence was a tomb. The gym's chaos buried the heavy bags still, the mats forgotten, the mirrors reflecting a new truth. Medics rushed to Jason, their bags clattering, their voices low, their hands checking his pulse as he lay convulsing, his tank top soaked, his title a memory. An old fighter, his beard gray, his eyes wide, stammered forward, his voice shaking, breaking the stillness. "That's Lena Hartley." He said, his tone a mix of awe and fear, his words spreading like wildfire. Former military kickboxing champion, nicknamed Hartley the Ghost. The woman who dropped a 90-kilo opponent in 9 seconds at the 2015 Army Games. She disappeared after a scandal, refused an underground fight contract, and was forced into retirement. The crowd gasped, their phones lowering, their cheers replaced by whispers of "Dosh Hartley, the Ghost." A trainer, his whistle frozen, muttered, "She was untouchable, undefeated, 22-0 until they blackballed her for saying no to their dirty money." Lena unwrapped her gloves, her scarred hands steady, the old tape peeling her forearm, scar catching the light, a testament to battles fought and lost, a symbol of her resilience. She stepped off the ring, her sneakers silent, her hazel eyes brushing past Skylar, now pale and silent, her ponytail limp, her branded tank top dull. "If you think muscle is everything," Lena said, her voice low, each word a bullet precise and final echoing across the gym, "you're still living in a fantasy world." The audience's satisfaction surged, Lena's identity, a revelation, her skill, a fire that burned through their mockery, her silence a symphony of victory. The gym was chaos. The crowd's confidence shattered, their phones forgotten, their cheers silenced. Skylar stood frozen, her tank top clinging, her 200,000 followers irrelevant, her laughter a memory buried under Lena's kick, her face pale as the medics worked on Jason. Jason lay on the mat, his breath shallow, his Texas Beast title a joke, his massive frame a monument to his hubris, his team scrambling to lift him, their faces grim. The fighters' eyes dropped their knuckles, unclenched their clout, now tied to Lena's triumph, their cheers useless. A SWAT officer in the corner, his badge gleaming, whispered to another. She didn't even flinch. Her kick was surgical. The head trainer approached Lena, his clipboard trembling, his voice low. "Hartley, you're back," he said, his eyes searching her hazel ones, hoping for a sign. Lena's silence was a verdict, her cap low, her scarred hands relaxed, her gray t-shirt a banner of victory, her presence a storm that had swept through the gym and left it in ruins. The audience felt a surge of justice, Lena's triumph, a blade her restraint, a fire that burned brighter than their scorn. The ex-Marine fighter who'd mocked Lena's inexperience stood pale, the crowd's whispers turning against him, their eyes judging his dog tags, now a symbol of shame. A trainer approached his voice. "Cold, you called Hartley a rookie. You're benched for a month." His words a verdict on the Marine's arrogance. The crowd ignored him, their cheers for Lena, her spinning kick a mirror reflecting his ignorance, her talent rewriting his narrative. Lena's silence was a gavel, her hazel eyes steady, her faded t-shirt a banner of victory, her skill a fire that exposed his folly. The fighters turned away their respect for Lena, growing his bravado a memory. The audience reveled in the justice, the Marine's disgrace a testament to Lena's power, his cruelty repaid with public ruin, a triumph that echoed every taunt he'd thrown. The ring announcer who'd ridiculed Lena's ambition fumbled his microphone as the crowd's murmurs praised Lena, their cheers for her spinning kick drowning his voice. A gym official approached, his tone sharp. "Your stunt cost us sponsors, no more mic for you," his words a verdict on the announcer's hubris. Lena's talent had exposed his mockery, her liver kick a mirror reflecting his shame, her silence a gavel that silenced his spotlight. The crowd ignored him, their eyes on Lena's ring presence, her skill rewriting his narrative, her t-shirt a symbol of power. The fighter's cheers were for Lena, his career crumbling under the weight of his taunt, his microphone useless. The audience felt a thrill. The announcer's setback, a testament to Lena's talent, his shaming repaid with professional ruin, a justice that resonated with every word he'd spoken. The female rookie who'd betrayed Lena stood frozen as the crowd's whispers turned against her, their eyes judging her shiny gear now a mockery. A fighter approached her, voice cold. "You trashed Hartley. You're no sister to us." Her words a verdict on the rookie's betrayal. Lena's spinning kick had exposed her scorn, her talent a mirror reflecting the rookie's shame, her silence a gavel that silenced her clout. The crowd ignored her, their cheers for Lena, her skill rewriting the narrative of women in the ring, her t-shirt a symbol of strength. The trainers turned away, her credibility crumbling, her gear useless. The audience felt a surge of satisfaction, the rookie's humiliation a testament to Lena's power, her betrayal repaid with public ruin, a justice that echoed every word she'd spoken. The aftermath was a reckoning. The gym's hierarchy upended its mirrors, reflecting a new reality. The SWAT officer who'd called Lena a Pilates princess stood silent. His badge clipped his laughter, a wound turned against him, his peers avoiding his eyes. The female fighter, her branded gear now a mockery, muttered, "I didn't know she was a legend." Her juice box taunt a mistake that cost her respect, her confidence dull. The gym rat, his biceps sagging, retreated to the lockers, his knit a scarf jab a memory that marked him as a fool, his swagger erased. The grizzled trainer, his whistle dangling, stammered to a fighter, "We should have checked her record, she's no rookie." His mockery of her frame, a regret he'd carry. The cop, his buzz cut faded, pocketed his $10, his bet a misstep that cost him credibility. His cheers dimmed. The audience reveled in the justice, each antagonist's cruelty repaid their egos, dismantled by Lena's single kick. A triumph that echoed every wound they'd inflicted. Skylar's downfall was the sharpest, her coaching cred crumbling, her tank top a symbol of her faded authority, her ponytail limp. She approached Lena, her voice shaking, her eyes desperate. "Hartley, I didn't know. I'm sorry." She said, her plea a last grasp for redemption, her reputation a crown she'd lost. Lena's hazel eyes met hers, sharp, unyielding, her silence a gavel, her cap low. "You don't apologize for stupidity, you learn from it," she said, her voice low, each word a verdict, final and cold. Skylar's face crumpled, her laughter a wound turned against her, her authority shattered by the woman she'd mocked. The audience felt a thrill. Skylar's downfall a testament to Lena's power, her cruelty repaid with public ruin, a justice that resonated with every taunt she'd led. As Lena stepped off of the ring, the head trainer announced to the crowd, his voice firm, "Wolf Den's done with bullying. Hartley's kick showed us what real strength is." The crowd stirred the fighters, murmuring their cheers for Lena, her spinning kick, a blueprint for change, her faded t-shirt, a symbol of reform. Lena's talent had forced a reckoning, her liver kick exposing the gym's toxic masculinity, her silence a beacon for equality. The trainers nodded their plans for open sparring, scrapped their respect for Lena, growing her skill, a fire that reshaped the gym's culture. The audience felt a final triumph, Lena's talent transforming Wolf Den, ensuring her legacy endured beyond the ring, a victory for every underdog mocked by its ropes. The gym's mats were a testament to Lena's precision, the heavy bags a shrine to her, returned the fluorescent lights, a spotlight on her legacy. Lena reached the door, the Texas heat waiting beyond the cinderblock walls, her gray t-shirt a badge of honor, her scarred hands a map of her journey, her forearm scar a story of loss and return. The crowd parted, their whispers trailing her, "That's Hartley the ghost. She's the nightmare." Their phones still raised, but Lena didn't look back. Her silence, her triumph, her cap low, her sneakers silent on the concrete. The Wolf Den kickboxing gym would never be the same. Its concrete floor marked by the fall of a giant, its ring a shrine to a woman who needed no spotlight. The fighters would rethink their taunts, the trainers would study her footwork, The cops would whisper her name, but Lena was gone, her silence, her shield, her kick, her legacy. Jason's reign was a footnote, his Texas Beast title a memory erased by a woman who'd returned from the shadows. The gym was a battlefield where Lena had fought and won, not with words, but with one perfect kick, a liver shot that shattered an ego and silenced a crowd, its echo louder than any roar. No roar, no pose, just one perfect kick, and the king of the gym became the ghost on the floor. Like what you saw, then share and comment what real strength means to you. And subscribe for more stories where the underdog silences the whole room.